Welcome to the Cowboys Versus Ninjas podcast. We've got two really fast-paced stories from Flash Fiction Land today. And yeah, we're going to jump straight into these stories about teenage ninjas in crazy situations. Consider this your crash course on all the betrayals, mysteries, and the just pure bravery you find in these stories.
I think it's really interesting how these short stories, the ones you shared, manage to create such captivating worlds and characters so quickly. We're going to break down the important parts and see what makes these stories so gripping.
Okay, let's dive right into the first one. X marks the betrayal. Imagine this. You're Hiro, a young and I'm assuming pretty skilled ninja dedicated to your clan, and suddenly, bam, everything you know is gone. You're accused of stealing a sacred scroll and they carve an X into your back, the ultimate mark of disgrace. You're a traitor to your own people now. Why do you think the author decided to start Hiro's journey with such a strong act of betrayal? What kind of impact does a betrayal like that have on a character, right from the beginning?
Well, that X immediately creates a central conflict, right? It's not just a physical wound. It represents rejection from his entire community. It's interesting that the story specifically says they don't kill him. This implies that they want to shame and isolate him. But as we see, their plan backfires. This betrayal becomes the fuel that drives his quest for, I guess you could say, revenge.
It's like they tried to erase him, but they actually ended up giving him a defining mark instead. They leave him for dead in the Forest of Whispers. Already, the name of that place sounds kind of creepy. It's not just a forest. The name implies a sense of danger, like something bad is going to happen. And wouldn't know it, he's almost immediately attacked with an arrow. This is where the story gets really good, even though he's just been betrayed and feels completely lost. His training kicks in automatically. He uses the criss-cross attack, his signature move, not because he thinks it through, but purely out of instinct. It's a deeply ingrained survival reflex. What does that tell us about the power of training and discipline, even when everything else falls apart?
Right. And that immediate attack from an outsider, someone not from the clan, raises a really important question. Who else wants to see Hiro dead? The conflict suddenly becomes bigger than just his old clan. Now he's not only fighting to clear his name, he's stumbled into a much more complicated and dangerous situation where there are hidden forces at work. This quick escalation is something you see a lot in good flash fiction.
Totally agree. And just when you think he might get a break, more attackers show up. It feels like a hopeless situation. He's outnumbered and probably doesn't have the weapons to fight them all off. But this is where we see how resourceful Hiro is. He doesn't just try to fight his way out. He uses the environment, that spooky forest of whispers, to his advantage. The criss-cross attack becomes a tool not just for attacking, but for creating space, maneuvering, and escaping. It's not just about the skill itself, but about how he adapts and applies it in this situation. What does that say about true mastery of a skill, the ability to use it creatively in unexpected ways?
You're exactly right. He turns his weakness into a tactical advantage. It's fascinating how Hiro's view of the X changes throughout the story. At first, it's a mark of shame, something forced upon him. But as he faces these threats, it becomes like his personal symbol, a reminder of what he's fighting against. He takes ownership of it and gives it a new meaning.
It's almost like they gave him this scarlet letter and he decided to wear it like a badge of honor, a statement of his purpose. And that last line that he's going to carve his own X into the heart of the conspiracy, that's such a great cliffhanger. It makes you want to know what happens next. So that's Hiro's story, a story about betrayal and the desire for justice. Now let's move on to the second story, Mystical Guardian.
This story has a different feel to it. It introduces us to Mai, a teenage ninja who has trouble controlling her elemental powers. What's interesting is that she doesn't really embrace the label of a prodigy. She sees these incredible powers like wind and fire as something she can't fully control, almost like a dangerous force inside her. This makes her relatable. Have you ever had a talent that felt more like a burden before you learned how to use it?
Yeah, totally. That feeling that you have all this potential, but you can't quite grasp it. And it can be kind of scary, too. So Mai is given a mission that seems pretty straightforward. Escort an ancient scroll. You just know this is going to go wrong. It starts off as a routine mission, and then all of a sudden, bam, these strange bandits attack. These aren't your typical thieves. They're organized, focused on getting that scroll, and their weapons are crackling with some kind of energy, like lightning, maybe. It's so effective how the story quickly shifts from a simple task to a high-stakes situation. Why do you think that sudden change in the narrative works so well to grab our attention?
Because it disrupts the normal flow and immediately creates tension. The fact that these bandits have unusual powers of their own and can easily counter Mai's elemental attacks, even laughing as they break through her defenses, it tells you this scroll is way more important than anyone realized. It makes Mai, and us as readers, understand that there's a much bigger mystery going on here.
And then things get really crazy. There's a sudden landslide, a pillar of fire is sliced apart. It's obvious that some supernatural forces are involved. But this is where it gets really interesting. Just when it seems like Maya is trapped, something else steps in. Vines shoot out of the ground, electricity crackles in the air powers she didn't know she had. It's as if the scroll itself is reacting or some protective force is awakening and Maya is somehow connected to it. What does this sudden appearance of hidden powers tell us about the potential that might be hidden inside us, waiting to be unleashed in extreme situations?
This is a really important moment in the story. It introduces the idea of a larger, maybe ancient, mystical world that's connected to the scroll, and perhaps even to Mai's family history. The fact that she can't control these new abilities makes you wonder where they came from and how they can be used. Is the scroll like a key that unlocks something within her? Is there a guardian spirit involved? The story transforms from a simple attack into the beginning of a much larger and potentially dangerous journey of self-discovery.
And then, like a lightning strike, get it because of the electricity, we meet Hana, the girl with the electric tonfa. She's a fascinating character who jumps right into the middle of the fight as this unexpected ally. She makes a funny comment about Mai's messy but potential weather control, which adds a little humor to the intense situation. But it's clear that Hana is skilled and knows a lot about what's happening. Her arrival not only saves Mai, but it also confirms that something extraordinary is going on. What role do these surprise allies often play in stories like this?
They're often guides or mentors who provide important information, support, and a fresh perspective on the events. Hana's appearance validates my suspicions and reassures her that she's not alone in facing this threat. Hana recognizes the strange markings on the attackers and seems to understand the scroll's power, suggesting a wider network or knowledge of the mystical forces at play. She draws Mai deeper into this hidden world.
And that final thought that gives Mai chills the realization that the bandits might not be the real enemy that's such a great hook. Whatever is controlling the elements and causing her to doubt her own powers is still out there somewhere. Hana suddenly senses more people approaching, smelling ozone and something ancient in the wind. It all points to a much bigger, unseen, and possibly even more dangerous force. What started as a simple escort mission has turned into a full-blown mystical conspiracy.
Absolutely. The ending sets us up for a much bigger adventure. May initially feels overwhelmed by her powers, but that feeling is clearly shifting towards excitement and a desire to uncover the truth. It's the classic hero's journey, where an ordinary person is thrown into extraordinary circumstances and starts to discover their hidden potential.
So thinking back on these two really intense stories, what stands out to you the most? In X Marks the Betrayal, we see how a deep betrayal can completely change someone, making them strong and resilient even when facing huge challenges. Hiro's story shows us how someone's attempt to bring him down can actually ignite a powerful desire for justice and self-discovery. What does it really take for a person to take back control of their own story when others try to define them?
And then there's Mai in Mystical Guardian, whose simple task turns into this unexpected journey of self-discovery. The sudden appearance of hidden powers and the glimpse of a larger mystical world connected to the scroll are really captivating. What is the true power of this ancient artifact, and who is behind the manipulation of these elemental forces? Mai's initial struggle with her own powers turns into this exciting realization that she has untapped potential. It makes you think about the hidden abilities we all might have and those moments when we discover strengths we never knew existed.
Both Hiro and Mai are thrust into worlds that are way more complex and dangerous than they could have imagined. These flash fiction pieces do such a great job of capturing action, mystery, and personal growth in such a short amount of time, leaving you wanting more. What paths will these young ninjas choose? What other secrets are hidden in their worlds? These stories feel like just the beginning. We encourage you to find these stories and maybe explore other flash fiction to discover more of these amazing, powerful narratives. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the exciting worlds of ninjas, betrayal, and the awakening of hidden power right here on the Cowboys Versus Ninjas podcast. Welcome to the show where we cover everyday and addictive stories, all in a fun, epic way with masterful storytelling that keeps the listener craving for more tales of samurai and gunslingers adventure. Rate and follow for more Cowboys Versus Ninjas episodes.
They really are fun reads.
Yeah, they are.